Today, we curated, reviewed and money-highlighted bio video, The Story of Jeff Bezos by Sunny V2. Jeff Bezos, the visionary founder of Amazon, transformed from a teenager working at McDonald's to the world's richest person. His journey underscores the importance of perseverance, customer focus, and resilience, showcasing how he reshaped industries and pioneered new frontiers, including online retail and space exploration.
The year is 1980. A 16-year-old high school student shows up to a small McDonald's located in Albuquerque, New Mexico for his first shift as a line cook. After beginning his shift, he'll be given the job of cleaning the restaurant corner to corner, considering he was branded as the new guy. His manager, co-workers and customers didn't think much of him at the time, but only because they had no idea as to who this kid would eventually become. The name of that 16-year-old McDonald's newbie happened to be Jeffrey Preston Bezos, and exactly 38 years after cleaning that Albuquerque McDonald's corner to corner, he would take on the title as the richest man on planet Earth. However, it's safe to say that such a journey would be no walk in the park. A journey full of risk, reward, ups, downs, successes, failures, and a load of hair loss. This is From McDonald's to Multi-Billionaire, Becoming Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos' journey, from a 16-year-old McDonald's line cook to the world's wealthiest man, is a testament to perseverance and innovation. Starting humbly, he embraced challenges, learned from setbacks, and remained dedicated to his vision. Bezos' story teaches valuable lessons about hard work, customer focus, and adapting to change, showcasing that success is a result of continuous learning and resilience.
His high school years at the age of 16, Jeff would get his first job at McDonald's, earning $2.69 per hour. While it didn't pay all that well and was far from glamorous, Jeff saw the positives in the situation, claiming that the job got him interested in the process of automation, taught him the basics of customer service, and the importance of staying focused on a single task.
She couldn't get me to switch tasks, so she would have to just pick up my chair and move me. And by the way, I think that's, if you ask the people who work with me, that's still probably true.
And Jeff never had a problem working at McDonald's back at the age of 16, because he would later explain that it was never about the present for him. It was all about the future.
The same way I do. They work in the future, they live in the future. None of the people who report to me should really be focused on the current.
And as mentioned in the beginning, what the future had in store for Jeff was undoubtedly something that he was unable to predict.
Jeff Bezos' early job at McDonald's, it's clear that the experience shaped his perspective on automation, customer service, and the importance of focus. Jeff's ability to see beyond the present and work toward the future played a crucial role in his success. The lessons learned from his McDonald's days, emphasizing the significance of staying focused on long-term goals, have undoubtedly influenced his journey from a modest job to becoming the wealthiest person globally.
Received numerous job offers upon the completion of his degree at prestigious companies such as Intel, Nokia, and Accenture, however would decline these offers and instead take a job at a financial tech startup by the name of Fitel. But a financial tech startup simply wasn't good enough for a genius like Jeff Bezos, so he would eventually take his skills to a hedge fund by the name of D. Shaw in 1990 at the age of 26.
I went to New York City and I ended up working at a quantitative hedge fund run by a brilliant man named David Shaw, D.E. Shaw & Co.
Despite now being in this extremely prestigious, high-paying job, rather than valuing the money he was being paid, it seemed as though Jeff Bezos preferred to value the lessons he was being taught by his bosses.
I learned so much from him. I used a lot of his ideas and principles on things like HR and recruiting and what kind of people to hire.
And Jeff was going to need all of the lessons he could possibly learn, because Jeff was already thinking about leaving the hedge fund with the intention of taking on the biggest venture he could possibly think of.
Jeff Bezos turning down prestigious job offers and opting for a position at a financial tech startup, it's evident that he prioritized learning and personal growth over immediate financial gains. His move to D.E. Shaw showcased his commitment to absorbing knowledge from brilliant mentors like David Shaw. Rather than merely valuing the paycheck, Jeff valued the invaluable lessons and principles he gained. This mindset foreshadowed his future success, emphasizing the importance of continuous learning and a thirst for knowledge. Jeff's decision to leave the hedge fund indicated his ambition for a more significant challenge, setting the stage for the monumental journey ahead.
In 1994, after recently becoming the fourth hedge fund senior vice president at D. Shaw & Co., Jeff Bezos began to think heavily about what he wanted from life, eventually deciding that he was going to focus on a phenomena called
a regret minimization framework,
with the goal of having no regrets during his later years in life.
When I'm 80 years old,
I want to have minimized the number of regrets that I have. I don't want to be 80 years old in a quiet moment of reflection, thinking back over my life and cataloging a bunch of major regrets.
Usage was growing at 2,300% a year. So I decided I would try and find a business plan that made sense in the context of that growth.
Jeff realized that he could sell products through the internet and decided that creating an online bookstore might work as a business model.
I picked books because there were more items in the book category than any other category, and so you could build universal selection. There were 3 million in 1994.
This desire to minimize regret, combined with a genuine plan of selling books through the internet, ultimately led Jeff Bezos to quit his prestigious hedge fund job and venture out into the unknown of the business world.
You had a great job. I remember you had a great apartment on the Upper West Side.
Working on Wall Street, and a year after we got married, I went to her and said, I want to quit my job.
Thankfully, Jeff's wife was supportive of the dream, which would lead them to leave New York City and head to Seattle, where the company would begin.
Jeff Bezos adopting a regret minimization framework in the early 1990s, it's evident that he possessed a forward-thinking and goal-oriented mindset. This approach reflects a deep awareness of the importance of making decisions today that align with long-term fulfillment and satisfaction. By prioritizing a life without regrets, Jeff set a profound personal philosophy. This commitment to minimizing regrets speaks to the value he places on purposeful decision-making and aligning actions with future aspirations. It serves as a valuable lesson for anyone striving for success, emphasizing the significance of intentional choices and a vision-driven approach to life.
Bezos then accepted his parents' life savings of approximately $300,000 and instantly invested it into the company.
Initial startup capital for Amazon.com came primarily from my parents, and they invested a large fraction of their life savings in what became Amazon.com.
Also changing the name from Cadabra to Amazon, named after the Amazon River in South America.
And he said, cadaver? And I knew then that was not going to be a good name. We changed it about 3 months later.
However, despite having this $300,000 worth of funding, the future of Amazon was far from certain. Jeff would warn his early investors that there was a 70% chance that Amazon would either fail or go bankrupt.
And I told them that I thought there was a 70% chance that they would lose their whole investment, which was a few $100,000. I thought I was giving myself triple the normal odds. It's only about 10%. Here I was giving myself a 30% chance.
Jeff had to deliver the books to the post office himself and didn't have enough money for basic machinery.
I was driving the packages to the post office myself and hoping one day we could afford a forklift.
Jeff and his team were literally packing books on the floor as they didn't even have tables.
We were so inefficient with our operations and logistics in those early days when there were just 10 of us that I didn't have packing tables. We were packing on the floor on our hands and knees.
And on top of everything, Jeff had to get his wife Mackenzie to do the accounting despite the fact that she was extremely inexperienced in the area.
She did our accounting. For like the first year. Was it the first year? Something like that.
However, despite these areas of inexperience on the part of Jeff and his team, the business idea actually worked surprisingly well.
We were shocked at the customer response. Literally in the first 30 days, we had orders from all 50 states and 45 different countries.
I was shocked at how many books we sold. We were ill-prepared.
Better yet, they did it without having to spend $1 on advertising.
In the first year of opening Amazon.com to the public, we didn't do any paid advertising, and all of our growth was fueled by word of mouth and media exposure.
And this initial success made sense, really. As previously mentioned, Amazon had the ability to sell as many different titles as they wanted without the inventory problems that a normal bookstore would have, all while saving their customers the time of having to physically go to their local Barnes & Noble.
Jeff Bezos investing his parents' life savings into Amazon and the challenges faced in the early days of the company, it's clear that his determination and risk-taking mindset played a crucial role in the success of Amazon. Jeff's willingness to take significant financial risks, coupled with the candid communication with his investors about the potential failure of Amazon, underscores the resilience needed in entrepreneurial journeys. The story of personally delivering books to the post office and packing orders on the floor highlights the humble beginnings of Amazon. The inefficiencies and challenges faced in logistics didn't deter Jeff, but rather fueled a commitment to improving operations. The early success, driven by word of mouth and media exposure, showcased the viability of the business model. This part of Jeff's journey teaches valuable lessons about embracing risk, facing challenges head-on, and leveraging innovation to disrupt traditional business models. It's a testament to the power of a visionary leader who is willing to take bold steps and navigate uncertainties to build something extraordinary.
It was perfect. Plus, Jeff focused on what he described to be the absolutely most important part of any business.
The number one thing that has made us successful by far is obsessive compulsive focus on the customer as opposed to obsession over the competitor.
This initial success led to a range of investment from various individuals, totaling a further $1 million to put into the growth of the company.
I raised $1 million from 22 different investors, $50,000 at a time, and they got 20% of the company for $1 million.
Between 1990 and 1997, the percentage of households in the US owning computers increased from 15% to 35% because owning a computer was less of a luxury and more of a necessity. Increased computer usage as well as further funding led up to a point where the Amazon company would make their next big move, the initial public offering.
Today, Amazon.com went public and it seems to be trading well.
A little under 3 years after beginning the company, Jeff Bezos would take Amazon public, $1.73 per share. Not a bad price considering that same share would be worth more than $3,000 today. The IPO raised Amazon a total of $54 million, and Bezos would officially receive the title of millionaire for the first time. Exactly 1 year after the IPO at $1.73 per share, the stock price had climbed to $6, an increase of 350%. This almost quadrupled Jeff's net worth, but more significantly began to spark new ideas for what Jeff could do with the company, ultimately leading him to email his customers asking what it was that they wanted to buy off the internet.
I wish you sold windshield wiper blades because I really need windshield wiper blades. And I thought to myself, we can sell anything this way. And then we launched electronics and toys and many other categories over time.
It was through this market research that Amazon would go from an online bookstore to more of an online marketplace, supplying any product that the general consumer had a demand for. Edible glitter, inflatable sloths, taco sleeping bags. Whatever you wanted, there was a good chance that Amazon would stock it. And with an increase in products came an increase in revenue, leading the stock price to go from $6 as previously mentioned to $60 only 1 year later.
It went up almost 1,000% last year. When have you seen anything comparable?
Nothing.
And as one of the greatest old sayings goes, it takes years to become an overnight success, no exception for Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos attributes Amazon's success to an obsessive-compulsive focus on the customer rather than an obsession with competitors. Initial success attracted a further $1 million in investments, and in 1997, Amazon went public at $1.73 per share. The IPO raised $54 million and marked the beginning of Jeff's millionaire status. Over the following years, Amazon expanded its offerings based on customer feedback, evolving from a bookstore to a diverse online marketplace. With a tenfold increase in the stock price within a year, Amazon's trajectory exemplifies the adage that becoming an overnight success takes years of dedicated effort.
Because despite only becoming a millionaire in 1997 after Amazon's IPO, only 2 years later in 1999, he would be registered in Forbes' World's Billionaires list with a net worth of $10.1 billion. Despite having a multi-billion-dollar net worth, Bezos remained humble and committed to his customers by continuing to drive his 3-year-old Honda Accord.
You yourself are worth somewhere in the vicinity of $9 or $10 billion today. What's with the Honda?
This is a perfectly good car.
As well as keeping an old desk that had been made out of a door.
Now, I've heard a lot about your desk.
It's a door with 4x4s.
I mean, you can afford a better desk than that.
It's a symbol of spending money on things that matter to customers and not spending money on things that don't.
However, saving as much money as possible was exactly what Jeff needed to commit to. Because
despite becoming a billionaire in 1999 with a net worth of $10.1 billion, Jeff Bezos maintained humility. He continued driving his 3-year-old Honda Accord and kept an old door-turned desk. Bezos emphasized spending money on things that matter to customers and saving on unnecessary expenses, reinforcing the importance of financial prudence even as wealth increased.
Unbeknownst to him, one of the biggest stock market crashes in history was already underway.
At the peak of the internet bubble, our stock peaked somewhere around $113. And then after the internet bubble, busted open, our stock went down to 6. It went from 113 to 6 in less than a year.
The dot-com bubble. A dark cloud was looming on the horizon for every online tech business, and it's safe to say that Amazon was about to be put to the test.
Amazon had serious crises. In 2002, you went almost bankrupt. So what went wrong, and what did you learn from that?
Between March 2000 and October 2002, the Nasdaq would drop by 78%, causing multiple large online businesses such as Pets.com to fail and shut down.
Pretty strong fear about losing it all. Are you afraid of that?
I know we can lose it all. It's not a fear.
In 1999, just before the crash would begin, Amazon's stock price would hit a high watermark of $113 per share. The dot-com bubble would begin to burst in March 2000, and it would be less than a year after hitting $113 that the share price would drop to only $15. By late 2001, the stock had fallen further to $5.51 per share, a total drop of approximately 95% since its peak.
My annual shareholder that year starts with a one-word sentence. And that one-word sentence is the word ouch.
Amazon had to lay off 14% of its staff, indicating that the company was absolutely on the ropes. Jeff's personal net worth had dropped from $10.1 billion in 1999 to $6.1 billion in 2000, then $2 billion in 2001, finally dropping to $1.5 billion by 2002. And if you follow that trend all the way along, the eventual outcome could have been zero for Jeff Bezos. However, Jeff wasn't going to give up that easily. He was a fighter.
Facing the aftermath of the dot-com bubble burst, Jeff Bezos and Amazon encountered a severe crisis. The decline in its stock prices resulted in layoffs and financial challenges for Amazon, with Jeff's personal net worth dropping from $10.1 billion in 1999 to $1.5 billion in 2002. Despite the adversity, Jeff persevered and steered Amazon through the tough times, demonstrating resilience in the face of financial setbacks.
In fact, he wasn't even going to see it as a negative. He had such a strong mindset that it was simply a learning experience.
The whole point of moving things forward is you run into problems, you run into failures, things don't work, you have to back up and try again.
Despite the stock dropping by 95%, Jeff explained that the stock wasn't the company and the company wasn't the stock. Because despite the massive plunge, things weren't looking all that bad internally at Amazon.
Every single thing about the business was getting better and fast. And so as the stock price was going the wrong way, everything inside the company was going the right way.
And while the company had to lay off 14% of its staff, there was still extensive innovation going on behind the scenes. Amazon would announce Amazon Web Services in 2002, which took data from website traffic and helped third-party retailers build their own web stores. Perhaps it was just good timing in relation to the end of the dot-com bubble, but around this time, Amazon's stock began to rise in value once again, eventually reaching $50 approximately 2 years after its low point during the dot-com bubble, representing a gain of 500% per year. But this total stock price rebound of 1,000% was nothing in comparison to what was coming for Jeff Bezos, and it wouldn't be long before he would take his life to the next level. By 2006, after innovative introductions at Amazon such as the Kindle, Jeff's net worth had once again increased back up to around the $8 billion mark. At this point, Jeff decided that
Jeff Bezos faced the dot-com bubble burst with a resilient mindset, viewing challenges as learning experiences. Despite Amazon's stock dropping by 95%, Bezos emphasized that the stock wasn't the company, and internal improvements were substantial. The company continued innovating, introducing Amazon Web Services in 2002 to assist third-party retailers. As the stock rebounded, reaching $50 approximately 2 years after its low point, Bezos' net worth climbed back to around $8 billion by 2006. This period marked a turning point, setting the stage for Amazon's future success and Bezos' ascent to greater heights.
Wanted to help humanity in more ways than simply shipping products worldwide on Amazon, and as a result began to focus on a different company.
If you could just take a minute or two and sort of help us understand, what is Blue Origin up to?
Jeff Bezos had always had an interest in space. His valedictorian speech focused on the exploration of space and had claimed to have gotten interest in other planets after watching the moon landings for the first time.
Space is like that for me. I watched Neil Armstrong step onto the moon when
I was 5.
Jeff Bezos created the company Blue Origin all the way back in 2000, however had kept it on the down low until around 2006 when it was considered financially feasible, at which point a large plot of land in Texas would be purchased for launching and testing the company's rockets.
The vision for Blue Origin is millions of people living and working in space.
The goal of the company was very much similar to another well-known and loved entrepreneur by the name of Elon Musk.
I learned that the fundamental issue is actually the cost of access to space.
With both entrepreneurs attempting to produce cheap rockets while ensuring the future of human existence.
We're now big compared to the size of the planet. We can fix that problem. My role in that is I want to build reusable space vehicles. That's the heavy lifting.
And while Bezos was working on Blue Origin as a passive side project, Amazon was still churning away in the background, barely being touched by the global financial crisis, making Bezos richer and richer and richer. 12 billion, 18 billion, 29 billion by 2013. By this point, Amazon had become the largest online shopping retailer in the world, and Jeff Bezos had become the 19th richest person in the world. But these weren't the only significant events that happened in 2013. Jeff was about to make his next big business purchase.
In 2013, Jeff Bezos, while concurrently working on Blue Origin, decided to make his next big business move. Despite Blue Origin being his passion project for space exploration, Amazon was flourishing. Bezos became increasingly wealthy, with his net worth reaching $29 billion by 2013. During this time, Amazon had solidified its position as the world's largest online retailer. The stage was set for Bezos to make strategic business decisions, further shaping his entrepreneurial legacy.
Was kind of financially upside down, had a lot of work to do, no fault of their own. The internet had really taken the wind out of newspaper companies.
By this point, it had become somewhat obvious that Jeff wasn't really into conventional businesses. An online bookstore before the internet was populated, a company creating cheap rockets to be sold for space travel, hardly the type of businesses you'd expect a local mum and dad to be running. This trend of purchasing unconventional businesses would continue into 2013, at which point Bezos would purchase a newspaper company by the name of The Washington Post for a price of $250 million.
I asked him how much he wanted. He said $250. I said fine. I didn't negotiate with him, and I did no due diligence.
By 2013, the internet had completely taken over the traditional newspaper business model.
The problem was a secular one. The internet was just eroding all of the traditional advantages that local newspapers had, all of them.
And Jeff's rationale for purchasing the Washington Post was actually extremely smart. The Washington Post already had a load of talented people who knew a lot about news and media, and Jeff had become a master of online businesses. So Jeff would mix his knowledge of the internet with Washington Post's knowledge of news media, with the goal of making the company profitable once again.
Inside the Washington Post, we have so much talent that understands newspapers. That wasn't what the problem was. What they needed was somebody who had an understanding of the internet.
Bezos lifted the online paywall while completely restructuring the newspaper into more of an online media site, and by 2016, only 3 years after making the purchase, the Washington Post had become profitable once again, showing that almost anything Bezos touched would turn to gold. The turn to profitability at the Washington Post was around the same time that profitability over at Amazon was starting to get to absolutely stupid levels, which brings us to one of the most iconic events in Amazon's history.
In 2013, Jeff Bezos purchased the Washington Post for $250 million, aiming to rejuvenate its traditional newspaper model impacted by the internet. Leveraging his internet expertise, Bezos removed the online paywall and transformed it into a profitable digital media site by 2016. Simultaneously, Amazon's profitability soared to new heights, marking a period of remarkable success for the company.
July 2015, Amazon releases its quarterly earnings report, which surprised its investors by reporting a net profit that outperformed the top quarterly estimates. This incredible earnings report caused the stock to surge 18% during after-hours trading, and when the market opened, Jeff Bezos would earn $7 billion in the space of 60 minutes, taking him to the spot of the 5th richest person in the world by 2016 with a net worth of $50 billion. And it's not like Jeff began to hoard this money or blow it on excessive exclusive luxury. Rather, he just continued to make Amazon even bigger, hiring 130,000 new employees. By this point, it was barely a matter of if he was going to become the richest person in the world, but more a matter of when he was going to become the richest person in the world. And that time was not far away at all. In March 2018, after expressing the possibility of expanding Amazon into India, combined with the extreme success of Amazon Prime, Jeff Bezos would overtake Bill Gates to become the richest man in the world with a net worth of $112 billion.
As a result of going up 70% this year, you have become the wealthiest man in the world. Is that a title that you really wanted or not? Is it a burden?
I can assure you I have never sought that title. And it was fine being the second wealthiest person in the world. That actually worked fine.
This jumped to $131 billion in 2019, and due to the pandemic increasing the demand for online shopping, Bezos ended 2020 with a net worth of $182 billion.
Jeff Bezos' financial success is a result of Amazon's remarkable growth. Surpassing Bill Gates in 2018, he became the world's richest person, with a net worth reaching $182 billion by the end of 2020. Bezos remains dedicated to Amazon's expansion, evident in the hiring of thousands of new employees and a focus on meeting increasing demand, especially during the pandemic.
Bezos lost the title of world's richest man to Elon Musk in January 2021. However, each billionaire claims to have the same goal of making life multiplanetary, so at the end of the day, a bit of healthy competition at the top might not be such a bad thing for the human race. From a 17-year-old mother to a child genius to valedictorian to McDonald's to hedge fund senior executive to online book salesman to millionaire to billionaire to news magnate to space explorer to the richest man in human existence. It's certainly been a bumpy ride for the risk, reward, ups, downs, but Jeff Bezos has shown that perseverance is king. Focus on the customer, not the competitor, and never give up until you get what you want. Jeff Bezos has shown that it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter that your stock might drop by 95% during a crisis, and it doesn't matter how much hair you have on your head. You can still succeed if you don't give up when everyone else feels like doing so. This has been From McDonald's to Multi-Billionaire, Becoming Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos' journey from a 17-year-old mother to becoming the world's richest person showcases resilience and determination. Despite setbacks and financial challenges, he emphasizes customer focus, perseverance, and not giving up. From working at McDonald's to being a hedge fund executive, online book salesman, millionaire, billionaire, news magnate, and space explorer, Bezos demonstrates that success is achievable with unwavering commitment and a focus on long-term goals. The bumpy ride reflects the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, but Bezos' story inspires the importance of tenacity and vision. If you were inspired and gained insightful knowledge from our informative review, please give us a like and consider subscribe to our channel Money Highlighted for more. Thanks.